kick off this workshop for the Loudon Utility Board for April. And I hope this mic I've got now is working better than one we had earlier. If I may, I would like to, for everybody to take a moment of silence. We've had a couple of deaths in the last month that's very well associated with the Loudon Utilities. And one of them was Elizabeth Bradshaw's mother, and the other one was J.L. Millsap's wife. So if you would, let's all just take a moment of silence. Thank you all. I appreciate that. And let's all remember them in the days ahead as they're going through the grieving process. So let's all remember those families in our prayers. Now I'd like to read a statement to you. To ensure government operations continue to function openly and transparently during the COVID-19 emergency while taking measures to protect the health and the safety of citizens and government officials. Governor Bill Lee issued an executive order number 16 on March 20, 2020, allowing governing bodies to conduct essential business by electronic means. A link to the electronic meeting access and information is available online www.loudonutilities.org. Now I'm going to take a roll call of all the board members and see if everybody's in and everybody can hear and everybody can respond. Director Dixon, can you hear?
Here.
Director McCatherine.
Say it again.
He answered.
And try it again.
Director McCatherine.
Yeah, I can hear you, Dino.
Director Farmer.
Are you good to me? Can you hear me, Nicole?
Yes, yes, Carly. Thank you.
We got you, Carly. Director Farmer.
Oh, my mistake.
You ever get it?
That was, I had him muted.
Okay.
Try again.
Director Farmer.
Here.
And Director Watson.
Present.
All right. Thank you, guys. Everybody's up and rolling. All right, I would like to welcome everybody aboard with us this afternoon. And if we have any citizens or anybody that's in this meeting with us, feel free to state your concerns right now. We'd be glad to take them right now.
Say anything.
Okay, nobody has responded, so we'll move on. And the first order of business is the Tennessee Valley Authority Green Power Providers Program.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a contract that we are putting before the board this month for its consideration. The Green Power Providers Program is a renewal of an existing program. It allows business, industry, and residents to install renewable energy on site, for example, solar panels on a roof. It then allows these customers to then sell power back to the grid through the Green Power Provider Program of TVA. It's a voluntary program. We do have existing customers, at least 4, I believe, that currently take part in this program, and we are recommending its renewal by the board's approval of the contract.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments about it? And I'll start with Director Watson.
I'm good. I have no questions.
Director Farmer?
No questions.
Director McCatherine? Director McCatherine? Director Dixon?
No questions.
All right, thank you. The next item for business is Tennessee Valley Authority Green Power Switch Program.
This is another contract program provided by TVA. A difference is it's not a part of our wholesale power contract. It is a standalone agreement. It's a renewal of an existing agreement with changes. Green Power Switch, or Green Switch, as the program is now being called, differs from Green Power Providers. Green Power Providers allows for the production of renewable energy and then possible sale back to the grid. Green Power Switch, or Green Switch as it's called now, takes into account that it's a lot to ask of a customer to install solar panels on a roof. That's an expensive investment. Green Switch allows a utility customer to tack an add-on fee onto their bill, in this case of $2 per block, per 200 kilowatt hour block, which is added onto the bill by the customer's choice so that the customer can pay forward TVA's continued investment in renewables. So in short, it's a way for our customers to participate in the modernization and renewable add-ons to the grid through this add-on charge. It is 100% voluntary.
If we have any questions, I'll start with Director Watson.
No, I'm good.
Director Farmer?
No questions.
Director McCatherine? Director Dixon?
No questions.
All right, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the interruptible gas rate proposal.
Okay, moving from electric agreements to gas rates agreements, and specifically a gas rate proposal to this board. If this gas rate proposal is approved, it could be incorporated by your staff into contracts with future customers. The one we have in the hopper awaiting this interruptible gas rate is Morgan Olson. Morgan Olson is adding a line of trucks that would be fueled by natural gas. This line requires more natural gas delivery from LUB to Morgan Olson. We believe that we can supply the increase in natural gas that is requested. However, we do foresee difficulty meeting that supply in the event of a severe cold snap in the winter. We've tracked some history over the past 3 to 5 years. While it didn't happen this past winter, it can happen. It has happened in the past, up to 3 to 5 different days. And this interruptible rate would allow LUB to pass along the increased cost of gas for extreme event days to customers who have contracted for an interruptible rate. In this case, it would be Morgan Olson.
All right, thank you. Director Dixon, you have any questions?
I found the volume. Wow.
No, that was,
Director McCaffrey, do you have any questions about the gas?
No, sir, not now. I will say I just found the volume.
he just found the volume.
I can hear you. You sound like you're smoking.
We're glad you're with us.
If your grandson was in the room, you would have found it 5 minutes ago.
You may need to go back to Tim Dixon. You may need to go back to Tim.
Director Dixon, do you have any comments or questions about this gas proposal?
I'm good.
Did we get an answer from Carly or not?
I think Carly's okay.
Carly's okay. All right, Director Farmer, do you have any comments or questions about this gas proposal?
No question. None for me.
Director Watson?
I'm good.
All right, thank you, guys. Next item on the agenda is the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget review.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll hand this off in a moment to our Finance Director, Nicole Curtis. She's going to take you through some presentation slides. And the premise for all these slides was the conservative direction, the conservative conclusion that we came to in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic. We realize and account for the strong possibility of entering a recession of an unknown period of time. We hope it's short. We definitely see it as having a fiscal impact to the 2020-2021 budget. So the direction was to put forward for your consideration a static budget with no line item increases other than what we previously discussed, such as increased contributions to the medical insurance fund. Nicole, take it away.
Okay, on your screen, you should be able to see the financial reports for the gas department. This is through the month of February. I just want to take a quick look at all the attendees. Everybody can see this on your screen? Nod. Okay. Let me get that back now. So we wanted to review the financials through the month of February. It incorporates our budget, our current year budget totals. And then here, the graph at the bottom of the screen, as requested by Director Farmer, is our average monthly operating cost. And this is a great setup for budget discussions looking ahead to the future months. I will say through the month of February for the gas department, it's performing very well to have had such a mild winter. We have benefited in the gas department from the rental income of the old City Hall building and also from interest earnings being significantly higher this year. So we are on track to meet our budgeted numbers. As of February, we are $1.3 million to the good in net revenues. That will taper off as the weather warms up and there are less gas sales in the months of April, May, and June. That's very normal. So at this point, it appears we are on track to meet our budget for this fiscal year. As I mentioned before, the graph you're looking at shows the average monthly operating costs for this department going all the way back to July of 2010. So you were looking at almost 10 years of history on operating costs, which is everything outside of depreciation. It does not include the cost of gas or depreciation. This is payroll, these are supplies, this is the cost to keep the gas flowing in the pipes. It has gone from $164,000 a month to an average, as of February, of $199,000. So that's a 21% increase over 10 years. So that's about a 2% increase. It averages out to a 2% increase each year. That's, when we look ahead, we always factor 2 to 3% increase in operating cost. That's where we're at. As we look to future years, we know this next year we have medical fund contributions are a significant increase in terms of operating cost. That is all we are anticipating at this time, is a medical fund increase. Payroll, all other costs are being held flat for the upcoming year. Part of that is because we do not yet know the impact of this quarantine and coronavirus on our revenues. It will be a couple of months before we can anticipate that. I will also say, does someone have an alarm going off in the audience? I think it's one of our participants has an alarm going off.
Secretary.
Yeah, hold on, I can fix that. Look at that, we can fix that up.
I figured who it was, I muted one that time.
I just muted everybody. Okay, can everyone still hear me? You'll have to nod your head yes. Thank you. The alarm sound was disruptive. Okay, looking ahead, medical fund contributions are in here. That will impact our operating costs $6,000 per month. It's a total of $72,000 for the year ahead. Depreciation, we had just completed our AMI project. It's not an operating cost, but it does impact our net revenues. Depreciation will increase at least $50,000 in the upcoming year because of that AMI project. Going ahead to the water department, slightly more of an increase in operating costs. Since 2010, we went from $280,000 to just over $401,000. That's a 43% increase, again, over 10 years. It works out to about 4.5% per year. Looking ahead, we know that the medical fund contributions will impact operating costs $7,700 each month. That's an annual cost of $93,000. We also know that depreciation will increase, again, because of the AMI project, upwards of $50,000. As for the February financials for the water department, again, it's like the gas. We're on track to meet our budget with current year-to-date revenues of $732,000. Our budget is $866,000 in net revenues, and that will ensure that we can meet all of our debt obligations for the year. The water department is also looking at a significant load in capital projects expenditures. That will impact our budget because of interest expense. We have the depreciation, and then there again, we have yet to know what the impact of the quarantine and coronavirus will have on our revenues and on our high-volume water users. I'm going to stop for a moment in case there are any questions to this point before I go too much further. Do you have any questions from directors? Let me unmute.
Hold on, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do we know how much of an impact of that 43% increase was generated since we did the modifications to the water treatment plant a couple of years ago?
No, you're looking at the water department, 43% increase.
Yes.
Let me get back to that screen. It's a much more gradual increase. The cost of chemicals to treat the water, payroll, the water plant itself would not impact this because this is operating cost. It does not have the impact of that additional interest expense. So everything you're looking at here is payroll, chemicals, maintenance for the pumps and fixtures at the water plant, and also maintenance of our water lines. This does not reflect any of the expansion or improvements that were done in 2012. Does that help you?
Well, yes, but that's one of the things I like to talk about.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the end of that.
You can move on. You can move on.
Oh, okay. Looking ahead, I will say that part of the improvements for the water plant that are scheduled will be to upgrade the disinfection system, and it's anticipated to have an additional operating cost, but it's a much safer, much different process. Okay. Sewer department, through February 2020, net revenues are $963,000. Our budget is, budgeted net revenues are $1.253 million. So we're at 76% of our budget. If you look at a straight calculation, we are 8 months into this year, so we should at least be above 67%. So, and we're tracking very well, and the sewer department usually picks up in the months of April, May, and June. So for that reason, I'll say we're on track with the sewer department budget. Here again, you have your operating costs since 2010, going from $262,000 to $298,000. Again, everything you see reflected here is an increase in payroll, maintenance, changing out pumps that break down and have to have repairs at the plant or out in the system through our various pump stations, and maintenance of those lines that you see. Do we have any questions, comments on the sewer department? Okay, I'm not seeing anything. I saved the electric department for last because we don't have 10 years worth of data available on that. We have almost 2 years worth of data on the operating costs, but it's encouraging. Our operating costs in the electric department have dropped from an average of $424,000 to $369,000. That is almost entirely attributable to our right-of-way maintenance costs. I need to fix our participants again. Okay, there we go. Electric department operating costs have dropped almost 14% in the last 2 years, and that's primarily due to decreased right-of-way maintenance this last time, and then with our bid that was approved in February, we will be able to continue that trend, so that's encouraging. We also, again, everything else in this line is payroll, medical, fund contributions, and as we know, those will increase in the next fiscal year. We're looking at an impact of $7,300 per month, which is $88,000 for the year. Depreciation will be impacted on the electric department. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Let me say that again. The medical fund for the electric department will be impacted $11,700 per month. So that's a $140,000 impact to our electric department revenues. We also know that depreciation will be increased in the next fiscal year, upwards of $300,000 due to the work order system reconciliations and the AMI project. So we understand those rate pressures. There's also been some analysis by our rate consultant, Chris Mitchell, on the impact of the coronavirus. And what we know so far is that potential impact from our major industrial customers, we could see a drop in revenue anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000. Those are the variables we're looking at right now. So there's significant pressure on the electric department. When you look at what our budget revenues are for the current year of $440,000, I think we will be ahead of that. But if you start subtracting medical fund contributions, depreciation, and the impact of the coronavirus, it will be a very lean year in the electric department looking ahead. I will go back and unmute everyone so that we can, if there's any questions. We were getting some odd noises, so I had to change that. Just a moment. Tim. And Carly and Jean. Okay, everyone should be unmuted. If there's any questions on the sewer or electric department at this time. Questions, comments on the electric? I don't see any questions on that.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Certainly appreciate that. The next item on the agenda is the safety report.
Mr. Chairman, Support Services Director Jason Brown reports no injuries this month.
That's good news. All right, the next item on the agenda is the natural gas rate.
Chairman, I apologize. In preparing for the financials, the gas rate is not yet
Still
known,
not ready.
but we will have it for the meeting.
Okay, thanks. We'll have a gas rate for the meeting, not today. All right, that brings us to other. Manager Ross, do you have anything for us?
Yes, the past couple of months, I know it was emphasized last month of our willingness to move forward, our desire to move forward with a healthcare committee to evaluate the healthcare fund and the services that we provide going forward. We have a recommended list of individuals for this committee that we'd like to announce at this time, if it's okay with you.
Yeah. Go right ahead. We'd like to hear it.
We wanted representation from the governing bodies, as well as employees and members of the community. From the employees, we sought volunteers, those that had raised their hand and expressed an interest in serving on this committee. From that group, we have listed Clay Townsend, Aubrey Cagle, James Webb. From the governing body, Gene Farmer and Tim Dixon. And from the community, Jim Thomason, John Cobb, and John Franklin.
Right, thank you. All you guys hear those names?
It was Jean. Director Watson.
I did hear.
And Director McCatherine.
Everybody here?
I'm not getting an affirmative from Carly.
Yeah. Carly, are you still there?
I'm here.
Did you hear those names?
Did you say body?
Yeah, my intention was to put these names out in the context of a workshop, which is a time for an informal discussion, just to see what the thoughts were on this group and if it was okay to submit to the board for a resolution of approval at your regular meeting.
That'd be wonderful. We'll be looking forward to
I
it.
don't have a problem with that group if we go ahead and if you feel good with it, I feel good with the folks that you have selected. I'd like to see us go ahead and let them start getting together.
How far have you gotten?
Well, we would like for this group to come together, hopefully in the near future when social distancing measures are relaxed. But if that continues for an extended period of time, we may look at having a meeting through this type of video conferencing format.
Yeah, that might make it hard to try to do that under a format as we're under right now. I don't know. I'm just thinking that It might be different. All right, thank you. All right, Director Dixon, you have anything else for us? Director Dixon, do you have anything else for us?
The only thing I just wanted to thank everyone that attended the meeting, and for everyone to stay safe and stay healthy so we can be able to get back to some kind of normal. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Director McCatherine, do you have anything?
No, sir, I'm good.
Director Farmer?
Just have a couple of thoughts. I think now's the time that we consider looking at a strategic plan going forward with the COVID-19 situation and how it impacts us in the future. There will be some modifications that will be done with the strategic plan to keep it updated. So I would recommend that we start looking at it very close and capture any lessons learned or innovation or any creativity that we're doing now in that strategic plan for the future. And then I'd like for us to look close to the financial budget for a 3-year budget. It would be nice probably with going forward on it as well, that the 3-year budget is looked at. And also in the capital request 3-year budget as well. And again, this is all, I think impacting us due to the COVID situation, but if that becomes a way of life, some of the paths we'll be taking, it could change our thinking. So I believe now's the time that we start looking at things and not wait and try to be reactive, but let's be proactive. And especially, as I said, with lessons learned. Hopefully over the next few months, we'll learn even more than we already have how we do business. And then the last question I have is, how is our rotation working out in the field?
Our rotation is going marvelously. We have 0 confirmed cases or instances of illness amongst our utility employees. We're very grateful of that. It's even enabled us to reach out and help our neighboring LPCs. Over the weekend, there were significant damages in the Chattanooga metropolitan area. The Cleveland Utility District has put out a request for mutual aid, which we have answered, and we will be sending a 4-man crew to help Cleveland Utilities restore power to many of its customers. They have some 40 utility poles that are down, that are needing repaired, and we hope to respond to that request as early as tomorrow.
I'll have to unmute anyone who wants to speak.
It's good to hear that everything's going very well. So just, there have been no shortfalls in our community, no complaints at all of what I'm hearing.
No, sir, no complaints from the customer standpoint. Everyone has been very compassionate, considerate, and understanding in the Loudon district. I think it speaks highly.
Well, this is just a comment of maybe it's a lesson learned principle in that our projects may be consuming 50% of our time in our system, possibly. If I understood, we basically eliminate all project work right now. Is how we can do this rotation, which is good. But I just want us to consider our project time allocations for the future when we think about our planning sessions. Don't know really what that means. That's just an analogy to look at of how projects consume and how much cost they impact
I think that's a great insight. I think we're going to discover many more insights during this new normal that we're living in.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Farmer. Director Watson, you have anything?
No, sir.
And let me get Chris.
Did Watson have anything?
No.
No, I do not.
Okay. Chris, you have anything for us today?
No, sir.
No.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.